It's the Playhouse Podcast with Kat and JJ.
Believe it. I missed everything.
Missed the show?
What am I going to do?
Check out the Daily Podcast.
You thought you had horrible teachers. Wait till you hear this flashback story we had during listener bingo this morning. That's coming up a little bit later on in the podcast. Here we go.
Phones have changed. The way we communicate has changed throughout the years. And like every generation's like, wow, you had it real hard. So my grandma Ellie, she used to do correspondence for Delta. And so they had those boards that you would plug in.
She had to actually change the letters individually, right?
No, it was like what looked like this. My headphone plug-in.
She was at an actual telephone switchboard.
It was wild, and she had to teach herself how to read. It was almost Braille, and you'd have to understand the sequence of dots, and I mean, it's crazy. And that is one way that they would phone in and reach people all around the country that were working at different airlines. And I'm like, how did you even do that? I mean, they just got by, and then the next best thing was developed. But if I were to tell Liam that, back in the day, I was connected to a wall with my phone and we had an extra long cord. I don't even know where my mom bought that from, but I could have probably gone 4 houses down with this cord. It was crazy. You'd stand there, you'd wrap yourself up in it while you're talking, unravel it. But I would walk into my room and then we'd do party lines. So I would party line in one of my other friends. I'd be talking to Chris. Oh, let's party line Kelly in. Oh, let's party line Cammie in. And we would chat. And then you'd mute someone and talk about them and see if the other ones would talk. I mean, it was like straight out of Mean Girls. It was horrible looking back.
I'm so old that my 2 big telephone memories are, number one, my parents built a house. Like, they lived the American dream, bought a lot, built a house. Mm-hmm. And I remember my dad, it was the greatest because I got my own bedroom, which was great. But there was going to be a telephone in my bedroom, not just the kitchen. There was going to be a telephone in my bedroom. And I remember my dad saying to my mom, and I was 14 when they built the house. Mm-hmm. And I remember my dad clearly going, we're never going to see him again. If there's a phone in his room, he's never going to come out of his room.
Yeah.
And now, the phone is on your hip or in your pocket at all times. And then the other thing, I came from, and I'm so old, and I came from such a small town that to reach one of my friends, all we had to do was dial the last 4 digits of their phone number.
So my friend Julie was just telling me about that. People in Kimball, that's how they lived.
Yeah.
She was like, yeah, you had to share a phone with 4 other farmers,
if you were
too.
That was the other thing. I'd go to call my friend Jason, and it would be busy all the time because other farmers, because they had one phone line that would go all the way out, all the way out to one area of the county. And if somebody was on it and you picked up, you could hear their conversation. Or if you tried to call somebody and that phone line was being used, it would busy out.
Yeah. I said, you lie. She goes, no, I'd pick up the phone and I'd hear somebody else and they'd say, give us 5 more minutes. And then you could call whoever, but you had to share the same line.
It was an absolute, it was in the front page of our paper and everything when I was old enough that you had to punch in 7 digits. Okay. Not 10 or not 9 or 10, but you had to punch in the 873.
Yeah.
Instead of, I would just be able to pick up the phone and call my friend Johnny. I just hit 4601. It was, and then it was.
See, I don't believe that. That's the thing.
It messed up everyone's life when you had to dial 873 first.
Yeah.
And then now, to call out here, we got to dial 9, and then you got to hit the area code, and then you got to hit the, the whatever. But I vividly remember how much my mom complained about when she would want to call her mom, having to punch in 7 numbers instead of just 4. It wrecked her life for a hot minute.
That's crazy. So I want to know, other people, do you have a story that you could tell the youngest generation right now and just blow their minds? The way my grandmother talked about how they would speak. And then Julie's not old at all. She's in her 40s, and that's how they lived life out in the middle of Kimball.
And all you have to do is say, hey, Siri, call Kat.
Exactly.
And boom, from the other side of the room. Oh, my phone.
Uh-oh.
Sorry, I'm calling you. Never mind. So what do you got for the story? You're so old. God, thinking about your grandma having to work that switchboard. And then she had probably the headphone on with the one ear.
Yeah.
And they'd go, operator, can you hook me up to whatever? And she'd have to punch it through on a board and plug in something. That is bananas. You only see that in old movies now.
scary stuff here.
Who does that? Nobody does that.
What kind of person would do that?
Who does that?
Well, making headlines, these two grown adults did that. Should have known better. They were flying to Shanghai from the UK, and this mom and grandmother decided to teach the crying toddler a lesson, and they locked her in the plane's bathroom to, quote, educate her about not crying on board. And normally it's the people that are all around you that are like, oh, thank God, they're doing something about it. But it was actually them that alerted the flight attendants because they heard the child crying so badly from the bathroom. Have you ever been locked or stuck somewhere?
My dad locked me in our walk-in closet when I was, 10 or 11?
Oh, my God.
And gave me a beer mug, like a big beer mug.
Yeah.
And gave me a tin of Copenhagen because he had caught me chewing.
The story is just like,
and I had
taking my breath away.
I had to fill up the cup with spit. And it was a big, those big, tall beer mugs.
Oh.
Do you know how much spitting you have to do? And it worked for a few years.
That's terrible.
I know. Yeah, I know. I think it was my cousin. I want to say it was my cousin Jason.
Yeah.
Stole a tin of Copenhagen or Skol, maybe. I can't even remember what it was, from his dad.
Okay.
And he was a little bit older than me, and so I had chewed, and my dad saw it in my teeth. Like, I wasn't smart enough to, like, you spit it out when you get home.
Yeah.
And he saw it in my teeth, and he goes, "What's that?" And he smelled my breath, and he goes, "Are you chewing?" And I just, yeah, I did. I tried it. And he goes, "All right, come here." And he had a tin of Copenhagen. I mean, my dad would chew and smoke all the time anyways. But he gave me a tin of Copenhagen, and he gave me a beer mug, and he goes, "You can come out when that's full."
Wow.
And I bet it was probably 4 or 5 hours I was in there.
And did
just spitting.
you learn a lesson?
Yeah, like I said, I didn't chew for a long time after that.
But you ended up doing it.
I did. It was, and I'm not trying to make an excuse, but it was such a baseball culture thing.
Yeah.
Like, all the adults around me, umpires were chewing, coaches were chewing. Like, it was just a thing. And the only thing was you had to try and skate past the high school league. You know what I mean? You really couldn't do it during games. But if you were playing the field, nobody was close to you. Like, it was, for sure, don't do it, kids. It's horrible. But I was a dummy, and I did it. Chris has said, basically, when I was young, my daycare lady locked us in her basement. Still hate locked doors. And we said, "Hey, we'd love for you to call." She's like, "I'm at work already." But they would lock the daycare kids in the basement and only let her kids through the door when they wanted to go upstairs. There wasn't any real reason. I think she just hated kids.
Oh, my God.
Well, then how about not do daycare?
Wow. Daycare cash is quite appealing. I'm sure that there have been several of those instances. Denise had texted, "My old babysitter would lock us in our bedroom at night because she'd have her boyfriend over. My mom came home early one day and fired her on the spot."
Yeah.
Can you imagine? Oh,
This one got me because my grandfather had the same kind of a setup, but Allie said got locked in Grandpa's garage. It was a 100-degree summer day, and I couldn't get the door unlocked from the inside. I was screaming and yelling. It smelled like gas and rust.
I'm sure there are flashbacks whenever you have that smell.
If either Ms. Harris or Mr. Trump got on TV tonight and they promised America blank, they would automatically get your vote. Is there something you could fill in the blank with, Kat?
I would say no taxes during their reign.
Now, we can't operate that way, right?
Yes, I know.
Okay.
But you said anything.
Anything, right.
So that would be my, I hate payday. I love it and I hate it because I look on our app that we have through work and I just want to barf. I look at all the money that is being taken out and I'm like, what the heck? I don't know why, but I do know why at the same time.
You know why, you just don't like it.
Yeah, I'd love for more transparency. Like, I wish I could see each dollar and where it's going.
With the technology we have, you think that would be available.
Right. But there are a lot of secrets, too. There are a lot of reasons why they're taking certain amounts of cash for this and this and this and overspending here. And I just don't like taxes.
For me, the space program is the biggest dump of money we have.
My God, I know. Did you hear what Neil deGrasse Tyson said?
No.
He said that they have now found a planet that is
almost exactly like Earth, but bigger.
2 times the size of it. They're calling it, what is it? I got to find it because it was really interesting. And he said now we know that we have another option. I'm like, how long does it take to get there?
It's
so many questions.
43 light years away or something like that.
Yeah,
you can't
I don't
get
know.
there.
But
Paula right away said cost of living wages.
okay.
So if either of the candidate but what is cost of living wage? I mean, you got to figure that out. What is it?
It's different for everybody. How can you possibly? Everybody is different.
So that would mean it would cost a hell of a lot more to live in L.A. than it would to live in Duluth, Minnesota.
Yeah, but even if they look across Minnesota, you have to look at people's lifestyles. Like, I don't have 5 kids. I have 1 child. So my cost of living is going to be way less than somebody with 5 kids. So I don't know.
I was a little more greedy when I first thought of this. If they said pizza party every Friday,
like you are easy to please.
I'd be in. If you could get a free pizza every Friday, you would get my vote. No problem
whatsoever. Why don't you just buy a pizza every Friday?
I don't want to buy pizza every Friday. I want someone else to buy me a pizza every Friday. But remember when you were in like elementary school? Hey, if we all have at least 85% in math class this trimester, we're going to have a pizza party on Friday.
Yeah, but there was always
God.
Eric Plutton who would never hold up his end of the bargain. And then you'd have to look over nice and slow like we're at 81.
If you could promise everyone a 4-day work week, you would get my vote. If it was guaranteed 3-day weekends, if the American system went to 4 10-hour days or 4 8-hour days, as long as you could get your job done or whatever it was, but the expected was only that you had to work 4 days a week, you'd automatically get my vote. That would be number 2.
My cousin Will was in town for my cousin Monica's wedding. They live in New Hampshire now, and they have his wife has a job that has unlimited PTO.
Yeah,
and she
they do
said
this a lot now.
That people do not even use like a fraction of their time off because they don't want to look like the bleep hole.
I wouldn't even care about that. I would just say as long as the job is done. You know what I mean? As long as your job is done. Here's what we expect from you. If you can get that or more for us, take as much time off as you want. You want 2 weeks off in the summer? Knock yourself out. Have some fun with your family. You get a better work-life balance. For us, that would be a difficult one, right? Because if we're not here, we're not here. The job doesn't get done, right? So you gotta kind of lay out vacation days and how much you can take off. But if you've got a job and it's getting done, why would you care how much time I'm away?
I thought it was interesting. She's like, I barely use mine, but I do take off at noon.
Sure.
And she's like, I'll go to yoga and answer emails on my phone and just get stuff done throughout the day. And she said that it's a better way of life.
Because your phone is linked up to your work.
Right.
It's way different than when our parents started their careers because you had to be at your desk for 40 hours a day or 40 hours a week to get your daily work done. Now, I mean, how many emails or text messages or phone calls do you take outside of work hours? So I threw this up on our Facebook page. I'd love to pick your brain a little bit. If either candidate got on TV tonight and offered blank, they would really get your vote. So I'm going pizza party and
I'm going no taxes. We'll see if that
we're on different angles here. I think mine is a little bit more feasible than yours.
Then I want free gas. I want free gasoline.
You know, there's countries in the world that petroleum is free.
Name one.
Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia,
There are
pay nothing for gas?
there are a lot of Middle Eastern countries because they have such a surplus of petroleum that they have gas stations, but they're not even manned.
Okay.
They're just there, and petroleum is absolutely free. That's a thing. So maybe we could make that happen. Probably not. But what could they offer you? And you would automatically give them their vote. How would you like to win $1,000 cash and $1,000 for your favorite charity? It starts when you text the word GOOD, GOOD, to 320-251-1047. Thanks to our friends at Bradshaw and Bryant. You can do that right now as we wrap up the podcast.
Bingo! How fun!
Last week, someone lost an eye at bingo. Bingo!
Bingo what bingo?
Bingo!
You know, when some Tuesdays feel like Mondays? You can't call yet because you don't know what we're looking for. But we're looking for one great story from one amazing listener. Maybe you're somebody listening who
has had a teacher that just did something really wrong. You know, I'm sure we're going to have a lot of phone calls from people from back in the day when it was allowed, even though we did just read a story the other day about how corporal punishment within schools is not going to be allowed after January. I'm like, it's still allowed? That's crazy. But this Florida teacher, she was arrested because she had a 3-year-old in front of her. It was story time. and he wasn't paying attention. And so she used her legs to put him in a headlock for the rest of story time.
That's hard as a mom. I'm very glad that the paraprofessional that was in that school.
So the paraprofessional was the one that took a sneaky picture and told on this woman because she was like, this is not right. She should not be doing this. So you had a teacher that did something really wrong.
You would hope you'd have a little more patience with a preschool group.
Yeah.
3-year-olds, I mean, how much of attention do you really expect them to pay?
The most that I saw of a teacher that was doing something that they shouldn't have was Brad. His name was Brad, and not from Brown Brad, but he was my English teacher senior year of high school, and he would just leave and go smoke outside the window. And I'm like, we didn't think to tattle on him, it was what it was, but we were just like, that's kind of weird that he would do that in front of us.
I'm a little bit older than you, but we could have walked by our teacher's lounge at any given time and smelled smoke. I mean, they did it inside. And I had a teacher that punched a kid. Yeah, we've told that story before. I'm looking this morning for anyone listening who has won big with the lottery.
Ooh.
Spent the weekend in Iowa. And the way they advertise their lottery is so much more aggressive than what we do in Minnesota.
Yeah.
Ours is, it's $1 in a dream. Scratch, and you might get a second chance. Stuff like that.
Don't play, you die.
Like, here's Jimmy. He just won $1 million. And this guy's like, oh, my God, I changed my life. Like, it's such an aggressive thing. And, I mean, I never carry cash. But where we were, if I would have had any cash on me, I'd have been buying lottery tickets by the handful.
Why didn't you use your debit card?
Can you? I don't think you can.
Yes, we've talked about it. We've had several conversations.
In my mind, I couldn't, and plus my wife would have killed me. James, which one do you fit?
I fit cats.
All right, so you didn't win big in the lottery, but you had a teacher who was just doing wrong stuff. Like what?
There's been a couple of instances. Mostly it was our Phi Ed teacher.
Okay, let's not name any names, but what did the Phi Ed teacher do that you think was absolutely obnoxious?
Well, he wouldn't let us go to the restroom even when we had to.
Oh, yeah,
so there had been times where kids would soil themselves because they weren't allowed to.
But you had kids crapping their pants because they're pissing their pants because they weren't allowed to go to the bathroom during gym class?
Yes.
Oh, my God. Was it you?
Yes. One time.
No.
No way.
And what do you tell anyone about this, or are you just like so embarrassed that you're like, I'm just gonna make sure and go potty before class now?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. Well, that's horrible. What can I ask how old you are? What grade are you in?
I am way older now. Well, I'm in my 20s now, but I was in kindergarten when that stuff happened.
Oh
my God. That's rough.
And that sticks with you. And kids remember that, They're like, so-and-so pooped his pants.
Don't say their name, but do you still know the teacher's name, and are they still employed?
I still know the teacher's name, and thankfully they are retired now.
Yeah, that's good. They shouldn't be teaching anyways. Hey, I appreciate you calling.
Get out with LPP. Can you help me? Get out with LPP. Can you help me? Get out with LPP. Can you help me? Get out with LPP. Everybody!
Kat and I have both been out of the game for a while, but every time we bring on anyone who's got a dating issue, I keep thinking to myself, geez, I hope she doesn't leave.
Well, they're all over the map. People have been catfished. People start to date someone and then they turn out to not be, exactly who they were on paper. I don't know. It's not a fun world, I would assume.
OPP is other people's problems. Stacy, go ahead, tell everybody what's going on here. You got a gym bro in your life, huh?
So we just started dating, and the thing is, I just recently switched gyms, so now I'm actually going to his gym that he's been at for a while. So I just get the feeling that he's definitely hooked up with some of these girls at the gym.
Why?
Because it's hard to describe, but I just feel like whenever I'll go, talk to him or something, I just will catch them looking at me, and it's just like that kind of look where I can tell, oh, did they used to be me or something like that?
Okay.
Oh, I get it.
Like you're the flavor. You're the new flavor.
Yeah, kind of like that. And it makes me just wonder, why are they looking like that? Is there something I should know?
Yeah.
There is this other thing I know it might sound, kind of small, but he will he'll like film himself while he works out.
He's one of those guys.
Are there a lot at your gym that do
There
that?
are a couple, but
What's the reason for it?
Well, I think they want to check their form and their pump, and I'm just like, you can do that down in the locker room or at home, I feel.
There's mirrors, right?
Yeah.
You know? And the other thing is, like, after he does it, he'll go get, like, a protein shake, and I've seen him sit down and watch it.
Okay,
so I get this, though. Like if you've maybe suffered an injury and you want to check your form so you're not re-hurting yourself and stuff like that, but, like, I
can just tell you're weirded out, huh? A little bit?
I mean, a little bit. And I don't know. I don't follow social media. Maybe he's posting on social media, and I don't know. I just don't know if I can, like, vibe with that, you know, like, always on display kind of
Well, are you saying you want to break up with him or you want to break up with his gym?
You know, I think he's a really good guy, and I don't want to break up with him for a reason like that. I think I just need to go back to my old gym.
Yeah, maybe you're just not supposed to be in that part of his world, and that's okay.
Hit me with the free money.
It's a funky short week for a lot of people. Cole, how we feeling right now?
Pretty good. How about you?
$2,000. I'm feeling great. I'm feeling better for you, though, as you got through his color number 10. What do you start spending this money on?
Probably would go towards our deck.
Okay, so you guys, you do like a maintenance-free thing, or are you just replacing one, or are you starting?
We built the house a couple years ago, and we're saving to add the deck.
My mom just...
But yeah, hopefully maintenance-free.
My mom just got hers put on Friday to the front of their house. It's like a patio/deck, so
Okay.
it doesn't have any like sides to it, but it's really, really nice. And when they were ripping it up, I was so nervous because when I was younger, I would smoke and put the cigarettes through the holes of the deck. And I was like, oh my God, even at almost 40, I was like so nervous that
She's
they would
gonna call and yell at me.
butts. I was like, hey, did you guys find anything at all? She's like, no.
Well, it would be our extreme pleasure to be able to help you get a little closer to that maintenance-free deck you're hoping for. The game is called Coulda, Shoulda, Woulda, and it works like this. You're going to either choose to play with Kat or myself, whoever you think you sync up with a little bit more when you're listening to the show, and then you're going to be given 5 words. All we need are the first 5 words that pop off your mind when you hear those words, and if you match up with one of us, you got $2,000. So first big decision, who is going to give you the best chance at winning here, Kat or myself?
I'm going to go with JJ.
Okay, perfect. I'll excuse myself from the studio. Kat will run through the rules here real quick and get you going. All I ask is that you become very logical because, well, you know, with my intellect, it's just all in logic. So good luck.
Get out of here. All right. So let's wait for him to walk up the stairs. There we go. I have your timer ready. And sometimes he gives answers that are like, you just want to say WTF. I have no idea where his mind's at. So don't put too much thought into it is my suggestion to you. I have all of the words. Are you ready to go?
Yep.
Okay, here we go, Cole. Your first word that pops into your mind when you hear the word cozy.
Bed.
File, F-I-L-E.
Cabinet.
Leslie.
Frazier.
Okay, tongue.
Kai.
And crazy.
Crazy.
Say what?
Nuts.
Nuts? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. They're on his mind constantly, so good luck with that last one. Let's stop the timer here. That was inappropriate for a Tuesday, but that's okay.
Ooh, that was quick.
It was quick.
Okay, does that mean we're going to dial in here?
There's one that I am quite sure you will not get. Sadly.
Cool,
I know.
cool. All right. Well,
only because it's not you wouldn't have him come to mind. All right.
All right, well, let's go.
Clue for you.
All right, Cole, for $2,000, I got you, son.
Let's start with the first one. File.
Cabinet.
Wow.
Yeah, let's go, Cole.
Oh my gosh, am I going to
Let's
eat
go.
crow?
Let's go.
All right. Tongue. He stuck his tongue out, by the way. Tongue.
Taste.
Oh, I thought you were going to say it. No.
Did he say depressor?
No, he said tongue tie.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Damn it.
All right.
Just like that. No deck.
Let's go right to the one I know you weren't going to get. Leslie.
I would have said Leslie Nielsen.
Said Frazier.
Who's Leslie Frazier? Oh, the Vikings coach. The old Vikings coach. That's, yeah. You're a big football guy, huh, Cole?
Yeah.
All right. Next one is cozy.
Comfortable.
Bed.
Mm.
And this one I said, these are always on your mind, so maybe you'll say it crazy.
These are always on my mind?
Yeah. It's okay.
Women.
No, crazy women is your answer. Said nuts.
Nuts. Okay, all right. Fine. We got the jokes this morning. All right.
Comeback.
All right.